Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's panel. Today's panel is really all about the future of EUC and what all of us have seen over the last 12 months, and perhaps start to touch on some of the areas that we feel may well be of importance as we start to help organizations transform and reunite after sort of like the last 12 months of COVID. For the purpose of today, obviously the whole event is all geared around transformation and this concept of bringing people together. So we thought, what better way than to bring some of the leading experts from EMEA together to talk about end user compute. So with that, I would like to introduce Hans from Fondo in the Netherlands. Say hi, Hans.
Hello, everyone.
I'd like to introduce Matthias from SVA in Germany.
Hi, everybody.
Sebastian from NetPlans in Germany.
Hi, how you doing, guys?
And Mark from Ultima in the UK. Thank you very much, guys, for being here.
Hey, guys.
Greatly appreciate it. I dread to think how many years worth of EUC experience we've got on this call, but it's probably in excess of 100 years combined, isn't it? Something along those lines.
Yeah, probably.
Mark, if I could come to you first of all, various organizations have spoken about this concept of wave one and wave two, or the panic phase that people went through when COVID came about last year. EUC obviously played quite an important part in allowing people to go through a transformation. Do we now feel that panic phase is over and people are now looking to the future?
Yeah, I think so. I think we are in that, I guess we'd call it wave two, which is for me, what we're seeing is more of a consolidation. I think that first wave is really, like you say, it's a panic wave, which was just, let's just get stuff out there. Let's just get people working. But what we're now looking at is particularly around sort of productivity. So you look at Teams, for example, it's kind of, we've got Teams and now there's this proliferation of team sites and things. So what we're seeing is more of a look at, let's look at what sort of compliance and governance that we can put around those things. So start locking it down a little bit to keep a bit of control, because I think that's it wasn't really necessarily considered in that panic phase. And now they're sort of starting to see, companies are starting to see more of this proliferation. They wanted to make sure we've got those secured. And I guess the other part is linked to that is around the security side of things. So, they feel they've almost lost a layer of security, because some, traditional perimeter security, when you've got all this remote working, they're like, okay, well, we need to consider that. We don't have that perimeter security anymore. Let's make sure that we can, we're securing the endpoint and securing the user and securing the identity. So I think that's where people are really taking a step back and having a look at those sorts of aspects.
Yeah, so people have definitely got time to breathe now. And during that breathing phase, they're now starting to look, to your point there, I think I heard productivity and security. Hans, if I come to you, Fondo have spent many years helping organizations deploy technologies like AirWatch, and then over recent years have also obviously moved into VDI desktop as a service. When we look at unified endpoint management, how does that play into some of the things that Mark was just talking about?
Well, like he said, security is obviously becoming very important. I think it's more of the combination of UEM and the identity and access management. When you combine those things, say when logging on, you can make sure that the endpoint is actually secure and in the state that you would want. When you combine that with knowing who the user is and what kind of resources that he needs, that makes for a very, very unique product.
Yeah. And, we had an interesting conversation last week where I made a statement that went something on the lines of, surely organizations have just got two options now. They either go down a VDI desktop as a service route, or they go down a UEM route with a fact client. And you responded in with something different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the power is in combining those. When you look at most important thing in security is the identity. And if you look at Workspace ONE as a product, it's actually not even one product, it's two combined. It's on one side, you have the identity and access portal, granting you all the nice, seamless single sign-on capabilities. And on the other end, you have the have all the resources that you can put beneath that. And desktop as a service is actually just one of many of the resources that you could put in there. I mean, if you talk about cloud, it doesn't have to be public per se. It can be personal as well.
Yeah. Matthias, can I come to you? You mentioned something Tech Compass last week that I found quite interesting. Do you want to give us a little idea of what you meant by that?
Of course, and this is a fun fact. Actually, we started working on this paper before the pandemic actually hit. I mean, it was underway, but nobody really was aware of the implications and how big this would grow, and that we would find ourselves like in phase 1, phase 2, lockdown 1, lockdown 2, stopped counting. And so we started looking at it from a bit higher perspective, like how to modernize and embrace a real true digital workspace. And it's not about like selecting this vendor or going this route down, like Hans mentioned. It's not about like you have to go full public cloud or full private cloud, but looking at your processes, at your business processes, at your workplace as a whole, and finding out where can we improve that, where can you secure that, and how can we improve productivity at all. So it's not about, oh yeah, we got to all go home and throw a virtual desktop at you. That's just a fraction of the solution, right? So just giving you a very example about how we do the traceability in Germany. So I've been reading in the paper, they still, they're calling people, they maybe type something in Excel sheets, and then they print them out and they put it in a fax machine. So it's all about the business process. So I see Sebastian can relate to that, probably further also in the news. Exactly. And so we wrote a white paper about how we can strategically align all those technologies together and how we really can look at your business as a whole. And this is the idea about that. And of course, a lot of moving parts in there, like maybe Citrix, maybe VMware, Workspace ONE, also IGEL, and a lot of different technologies. But not only looking a bit higher than that, or looking at the whole picture and looking also at your business process, where can you improve collaboration, especially when things are moving back from the office out to your own home private space, or maybe in an unsecure environment. So context is also important. Mm-hmm. And this is where we want to strategically go with the customer and then talk to him and look at this as a whole picture. Yeah.
I think we're all familiar with experience monitoring tools, right? We could take a Lakeside, a Liquidware, a Controller, Login DSI that have been in our EUC ecosystem for a while. But I don't think what we're talking about here is necessarily monitoring user experience. We're actually talking about a much higher level concept here, which is how do we onboard users? How do we bring new people into the business? And once we've got those people working from anywhere in the future, how do we actually ensure a level of productivity and potentially even well-being whilst they're doing their work? Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think you have to make it as easy as possible for a user to be able to access their data and their applications to be able to do their work. One of the pain points for many of users is, of course, the many usernames and passwords for each systems that you would need. And a way to make that seamless and still secure would be a very important solution for a stack like that. Because if they want to be, or if they want to use the system, they're going to.
Yeah. Sebastian, if I come back to you quickly, you spoke to me last week about onboarding and being able to deploy frictionless technology. And you mentioned something called Home Office Express. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, sure.
we have to deploy a quick solution that we have named in our business cloud services Home Office Express solution due to COVID-19 first wave scenarios. So we want a solution to get customers' PC resources to get secure and access quick from home office and remote sites. So what have we do? We have to combine stuff like Citrix Cloud for the management tenant. We have for the end user experience, we are using UD Pockets and also Citrix Cloud Gateway. So we have adopting a remote PC scenario for these customers to getting the users quick into their home office sites to stay safe and to gain access to their company data securely. So this was our appointment to facing the first wave to give our customer flexible and early adopt service. And this was our solution called Home Office Express. And by now we have customers that are collecting these services by now too. So we're getting higher and higher here at our business cloud. And what we will doing next is adopt this scenario with WVD from public cloud scenarios like Microsoft. So this is one service, in our opinion, that need customers to get quick into the home office scenarios. And UD Pocket was a key in case of simplification and automate this process for the IT stuff like that. And we also needed in case of a service provider to get these customers to the home office really fast. It's all about simplicity, automate and easy provision for us in our perspective as a service provider, and also in a perspective of IT data center employee.
Helps with security as well, right? I think if you're talking about UD Pocket, it's a great security feature as well, because you're not having to rely on home PCs and potential data leakage and things like that. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I always worry about how I'm going to phrase this, right? But there was definitely a lowering in some cases of restrictions or security implementations as we had to pivot. What are people's thoughts on what they're seeing now and moving forward? Security still a priority for EUC? Hans, you're nodding.
Yes, absolutely. It will remain a delicate balance between security and productivity. If you want to keep your workforce enabled and empowered, you can't apply too much security because they will suffer for it. The other way around, you can't risk lowering your security, or you'll get what's coming to you, basically. So it's a very delicate balance. I do see a level of automation, as we talked about, but also machine learning and artificial intelligence going to be applied in this field, because the threats are getting too big and too advanced to just manually chase what's bad. I think we're going to have to focus on what's good and protecting that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more interest with our customers around SOC services and things like that. So definitely, I think they're looking to double down where they're SOC services, they're not cheap. So, but it's kind of, well, what's the cost of that compared to if we have a breach? And I think weighing up the cost, they say, well, actually, it's better to have these intelligent tooling, which uses machine learning, as Hans said, and also just to make sure you can monitor it, shut down any breaches, as quick as possible, because they're going to happen. I think it's one of those things. It's not if it will happen. It's always a matter of when a breach is going to happen. I think you have to consider it in that sort of respect. So we're definitely seeing a lot more of that. And just on your point, Hans, around the delicate balance, I think when you look at security from an identity perspective, I think it's starting to the user experience and that capability is actually improving. So you know, this whole move towards passwordless, which is actually more secure. Yeah, I think that's a real step in the right direction to make it secure, but actually make it quite painless for the user. So I think that's a real good step in the right direction with the way we should be starting to adopt some of these security practices within EUC in particular.
Sebastian, any views on that?
Yes, I see this quite a few times into the healthcare market, where we got some experts here on our side. I see, as Mark told before, it's all about the user experience first, because they have to simplify the way to get onto their work and onto the data. But you have to be morely be aware of your security, because as you said, Simon, we are talking about a dirty network quite now, and it's not the easiest way from a technical perspective to making this quite, yes, I said, to consume it, to have a security concept for it, and it's also so much. There's so much pressure in this appointment by now. So from my side, I think that we have to go to the endpoint and not looking, as Mark told before, to get antivirus and machine learning, quite stuff like that. We have to make a new kind of workspace. We have to make a lossless of, I said, Windows devices. We've seen new devices quite from an IoT perspective by now, like ARM technology and Pi and stuff like that. So that is, there are devices where you cannot add antivirus patterns for this like this, or you cannot patch them from a perspective like that we had done this in the past. So it's always, yes, driven by now, and it's really fast. So from my perspective, you will see a big change on the field outside there for the EUC market, but we will adopt new devices as well into the future perspectives. So this is quite roughly for, I said, security teams by now outside the data center to find the right solution and to find the right way by now. And you cannot every day making a security check or a security audit or making security as a service and combine this. You have to make a look onto your network, and you have things going for your business, and it's I said it's really hardly for security divisions on the data center by now. So it's not easy, in my opinion.
Matthias, you're historically a Dell shop, but you've been doing a lot with IGEL on Dell.
Oh well, the good thing is we are currently having a lot of vendors, hardware vendors in our portfolio. And this is a good thing, but coming back to our discussion from last week about Dell, where we have this one customer who's really a 100% Dell shop, and we had the opportunity to work on an EUC project with them. And this is the good thing about this was that they embraced still Dell thin clients, sorry, but really we're happy to have one single vendor strategy in terms of hardware. And this is the really great thing about the versatility of the IGEL OS and the underlying Linux ecosystem. So we had really zero trouble adopting it to the customer needs, and also in terms of hardware compatibility. And this also applies to future and current project, which we're having in the pipeline with all sorts of different vendors, like currently working on a healthcare solution with those I think those are yoga devices from Lenovo.
Yeah.
We're currently working on a project for in healthcare for doctors. That they have mobile desktop in the hospital on a Lenovo yoga device. And this is really great, and this is just it's a fantastic partnership here, because we can directly address technical issues and talk about different hardware topics directly to IGEL through the IGEL community.
Yeah, yeah. So let's try and wrap some things up. If I was to come to each one of you now and sort of say, what should people look out for or be focusing on in 2021? Hans, can I start with you?
Sure. I think things will continue to change, and it's inevitable. The only thing you can do is try to be as adaptable as possible, because we never know what's going to happen. I mean, we might be out of this situation pretty quickly. We might not, and it will have some lasting consequences, I'm sure. But what's going to happen next? Nobody knows.
Yeah, yeah. Mark, what about you?
Sort of, I guess, along similar lines. I think agile working will be the new norm. It's not this remote working is the norm, but agile working, whether that's partially at home, partially in the office, but it's really doubling down on what that means for the business. So rather than making it piecemeal, have a concerted strategy around how to deliver agile working for the needs, because not everyone can work from home, and not everyone wants to work from home. So it's about having that all formalized and in a strategy and return to work kind of scenarios as well. So having that as a coordinated effort and structured approach, rather than kind of spreadsheets and last minute who can come in on this day and things like that. So I think we're going to see that as well.
Yeah, good point. I'm definitely one of those people that is looking forward to getting back into an office at some point, that's for sure. Matthias, what about you?
Yeah, me too. Also getting back in the office, but just getting back on your question. Well, I think it's all about currently about still finding out how to get people more productive in a challenging environment, and also, I mean, we've seen that all in the last time, and it's still an ongoing issue as collaboration when you're not sitting next to each other. I think there is still so much room to grow for collaboration tools. I mean, we've seen it with all those vendors in the market like Slack, Teams, whatever. They're trying to do their best, but we're still not there yet. I think there's so much potential room to grow, and also adapting business processes to that. I've seen a customer that is that adapted very quickly and that pushes automatically news into Teams channels. And this is clearly a sign of adoption. Like, you try to embrace new technology just to make users more productive, because they're not in the office anymore. They get to know the information. They get to push them automatically. So just a simple idea of that. So collaboration and also bringing people together, even though when they're not physically together, is a topic that we are definitely looking for, and this relates all to adjusting business processes.
Sebastian, let's finish with you.
Yes, I totally agree with the collaboration stuff like this. We see the whole increasement of this in our customer side as well, as you all guys see it too. But I think for this year we will see a huge consumption in cloud business as well, public cloud, private cloud, multi-cloud, stuff like. Because you have seen from a customer side this business opportunity. It's not only the technical appointment or that you do not have enough skilled people. You have a really pressure into the market to get forward in case of digitalization. And for this, from a customer's perspective, you really have to look hard to this business opportunity to be more agile, to be more dynamic, and not only for your customers, also to stay competitive into your market. So this is from my side for 2021 a really, really big topic could be cloud. Yes.
Gentlemen, I'd love to ask you so many more questions, but as you know, we're trying to keep these sessions as short as possible. I love the fact that there's not been one single PowerPoint slide shown. I love the fact that we've got people from all over Europe on the call. I thank you for your partnerships with IGEL. I thank you for taking the time today to speak to everybody. Have a great year, and I hope that I can see you again very, very soon. Thank you.
Thanks for organizing, Simon.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.